Today's cup of coffee, we're going to be doing some porch ponderings.
Porch ponderings.
That or we're going to be doing some mountain wisdom, if you want to call it that.
Okay.
Usually in the mountains, there was always some, well, anywhere, but especially in the mountains, I'm going to focus on that. There were usually an outsider or two that a lot of times got referred to as mountain witches. And that was a misnomer in a lot of ways. I don't think that they meant it the way that a lot of people, as far as witchcraft, these people were herbalists. They had a lot of, they were just odd. They were on the fringes of society. But if people needed something, they went to them. Mm. And I think it was one of the things I didn't understand. Of course, I don't know exactly as far as my father, but that was one of the things that he considered me was a witch, because I had the abilities to see what other people did and to know things that, maybe I shouldn't have, or that there was no way that I could.
And that's really sad, honestly.
Well, and it was fear. A lot of times people fear people that are different, and we're seeing that in our world today.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
But so when I see things and I try to explain to people, and then it's like I either get gaslit a lot of times or accused of being wrong. And so we're naming this one When All Else Fails Coffee.
Mm-hmm. And that was like you saw something on Lady Gaga. That
I
was
did.
Like, mm-mm.
I did. And sometimes it's like it will be a gut reaction to things. It's beyond words or beyond the capability of formulating the words to go through that whole, brain process stuff.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's enough that when I see something, am involved in something, and it's just like, I get that feeling, I get away from it.
Yeah.
Then I can, I can figure out the psychological or whatever later. The understanding of it will come later. I trust that.
Yeah.
So, sometimes I have to take a break from the research and stuff, even on the weird. I love the weird. I love the fringe stuff.
The weird.
And we have so much of it right now. Everybody's running on overload.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a matter of processing. And this is psychological warfare, spiritual warfare. I don't think that there's a difference between the two.
No.
Because one affects the other.
Right.
And
I don't know if there's much of a difference either, but I don't know.
And because that I do go through some of these fringe topics, and a lot of them are dark topics.
Yeah.
And it can be very disheartening. And that's one of the tactics of the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done things from time to time. And, even as far as these little videos, if it doesn't have a snappy title, people will pass it by. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. That is okay, because maybe it's not time for them to hear it.
Right.
That's not my, that is not my thing to force what we have to offer on anybody else.
Right.
That's why we appreciate the people who hang in there and hear what we have to say and ponder it. They may agree with some of it. They may disagree with some of it.
They don't have to agree with everything that we say.
I wouldn't want them to. I would think that would be very strange.
Yeah. Blindly following.
Yeah, we've got enough of that going on right now.
Exactly.
And how easily people make idols out of others.
Mm-hmm.
And yet they want to tear down established belief systems. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Well.
And I was listening to Robert Phoenix there a few minutes ago, and he was talking about that we are witnessing the birth of a new religion. Now, this is not a positive one. And I'd say that there are several new ones being birthed at this time.
Yeah.
And you've got people that are total zealots.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got people that are willing to make sacrifices, not personal sacrifices, but sacrificing others.
Yeah.
That's kind of frightening.
Oh, yeah. It's scary. It's really scary.
Yeah. So we're in a very strange planetary, whatever. I will put a link to Robert Phoenix's YouTube channel if you want to go and listen to him. He's pretty basic, no nonsense guy. It's like anything else. I agree with some of it. Some of it I have a different understanding. He's got some interesting guests. And the gentleman he had on there is Friday, and I watched most of it. Now, his videos are sometimes like 2+ hours long. But again, it's one of those that it's podcast style, and you can do other things while you're listening, if you want to drive or whatever.
Or like clean or something like that.
Yeah. But he was talking about...
Blow your nose.
You can't hear when you blowing your nose. But the gentleman he had on at that point was... he had gone to China to study, and he was talking about the way that the government is there and the people and just the differences and how those things are influencing the rest of the world right now. So interesting topics like that combined with astrology.
Right.
Because planetary alignment very much has to do with everything. There's a time and a season for all things. And, even if I don't agree with somebody on something, that why would I totally discount them? Because they've got wisdom and, knowledge there somewhere.
Yeah.
And, some people deserve to be heard. Some people don't.
Yeah.
Some people do horrible things because nobody was willing to listen.
Right.
Yeah. And even as far as dealing with, home situation, I mean, that's like this morning, got up, I had a stressful day for me internally anyhow, got up, my morning routine to do stuff. We were going to help a friend transport them to an appointment. And there's no water.
Yeah, no water whatsoever.
And it's like, okay.
You need to start doing what Dad does. He used to. I don't know if he does it now, but like he puts a pot of water there for the next day.
Well, that's a smart thing to do. And anybody ought to have a supply of jugs of water just in case.
I agree.
And hang on, kid needs tissue.
I do need a tissue.
And this, some of these things that, those who came before us had a lot of knowledge. And they had gone through some rough times. And there are so many things that I wish that I had written down, had the sense. But now, why is it young has to go with stupid a lot of times? I think it's just a matter of not recognizing wisdom for what it is. I think a lot of it has to do with familiarity breeds contempt.
Yeah.
I know that it can be very frustrating that I can say something to somebody and they just sort of blow it off, and yet they'll hear the same thing, sometimes verbatim, on one of these other platforms or on TikTok, and then they come to me, relay the same information to me, and act like it's new, and that I should be impressed, and it's like, whatever. And I guess it's one of those to just sort of quail my ego. It doesn't matter who speaks it as long as the information is imparted to somebody else. But going back to my grandmother, these people lived through the Depression. Yeah. And that they knew how to do things. And so a lot of us that did not write those things down, here it's a matter of trying to scramble and bob and weave. And even with the water situation, these people, they didn't have running water when they were growing up.
No. They had to go use a creek or something.
Yeah. Yeah. They did have an outhouse. That was common in these mountains.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of using water sparingly. Making sure that everybody had a well usually there on their property, or they had a spring or something like that they could get water, fresh water, pretty handily. But it was one of those, I was very grateful that I had some coffee left over from yesterday.
Yeah.
So, and I had freeze-dried coffee. I didn't panic.
Freeze-dried coffee?
I did have some jugs of distilled water if need be. I had water in the water purifier on the counter. So there was no need to panic.
Freeze coffee?
Absolutely. Instant coffee. And so that's something I try to keep some of those things handy just in case.
Right.
Because if worse comes to worse, as long as I've got some form of coffee, that's a whole lot better than having no form of coffee.
You need to start filling up one of the ice trays with just coffee.
I thought of that before, but
Why not?
Why?
Why not?
If you want frozen coffee...
so it doesn't water down your coffee if you want iced coffee or whatever.
I don't usually drink iced coffee.
I'm saying if you wanted iced coffee or you got your coffee.
Now, he's an example. He's an example. And what he's saying is a good suggestion for those who like that thing.
Yeah.
But even when I'm saying I don't do that, I don't need that, he's being insistent. And I'm not picking on Kid.
I'm giving other examples.
It is one of those things that seems to be prevalent within our culture today. It's not a matter of just suggestions. It's almost like an insistence.
Mine wasn't an insistence.
I understand, but I'm using you as an example.
Okay.
It's just because it's your generation. It's not you specifically.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's not personal. And we were talking about people staying in their own lane.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are an outsider in society, that's not... it's harder when you're younger. As you get older, you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to go further back up in the mountains. Because you have seen the things, you can see the things coming, and it's distressing.
Yeah.
To see something, to sit there and go, cliff, 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 and watch people fall over the side. And it wears on you. It wears on you on a spiritual level. And it's where you have to get in that triage mode. Mm-hmm. You can do the best that you can to help somebody, but there are some people that, for whatever reason, are hell-bent on self-destruction.
I agree.
I saw that, and even as far as jobs that I was placed in. Certainly saw it as a corrections officer. Certainly saw it more as a mental health counselor.
Yeah. I'm sure you saw it a hell of a lot.
Well,
either way.
And then as far as minister, when you're ministering to people that are incarcerated and have mental health issues, and that fight starts again. But at least I did talk to a pastor there yesterday that he got it.
Yeah.
And he said the same thing. And it's always nice to find a kindred spirit to sit there and go, a lot of this falls squarely in the lap of the churches. And to tell him, it's like, I was one of these that was wounded by religion. There's a lot of people that's like that. Mm-hmm. And him to understand. And to sit there and go, yeah, because we're talking at people instead of ministering to people and listening to people. You can find out what's going on with somebody if you just pay attention for a little bit.
Yeah, you very much can.
So, but with all this going on, everybody needs to de-escalate or decompress for a few minutes. If you don't, you lose your fucking mind.
Well, according to astrology, people are going to be losing their minds.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's best to try to do stuff that reels you back.
Exactly.
So that you are not constantly bombarded by the negative and whatever that will make you lose your mind.
Some of it is to prevent being bombarded, period.
Yeah.
And this is as far as brain overload, sensory overload, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot of people talking about preparedness as far as food substances, and have some stuff on hand. That's always smart. Around here, it's called getting ready for winter. I mean, this is not new.
Yeah.
But another thing to be prepared for, mental and spiritual preparedness. Mm. Something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Coffee. If coffee ain't your thing, get you some tea or whatever.
Coffee or tea, you'll be with me.
Books.
matter what you do.
Now, if you're one of the people that, like myself anymore, that needs the readers or whatever, and I intend to get me a couple other pairs just to have on hand. It never hurts.
Get you a stockpile.
Well, actually, some of the places you can get, because they're cheap, you can get like 3 for a little bit of nothing. That's usually under $20.
That ain't a little bit of nothing. That's a little bit of something.
For 3 pairs of glasses, that's not bad.
For just readers, yeah. That's...
Well, if you need them, trust me, it's worth the money. Rather than sitting there squinting.
I'm sorry, in our world, $20 is a lot of money.
It is, but it's a matter of investing it wisely. And it's like my arms are only so long, you know.
You need a grabby thing.
Well, no, I mean, it's as far as holding something out so that you can see. You don't understand at your age. Some of those that are listening that are a little bit older, they get it.
I'm nearsighted, so I have to keep stuff up close to my face.
Well, that's the problem right now, is because you get that in-between thing where it's difficult to see up close, it's difficult to, far away, and so you just, we have the technology to have reading glasses and distance glasses.
I think you can have combination...
You can, they're bifocals.
Combination contacts as well.
How would that work?
I don't know.
I don't know. But anyhow, books, movies, musical instruments, or some kind of way to play music. What?
Fact check me on that one.
I'm not. That's.
I was asking the people to.
But
it's all good. It's all good.
Find out what brings you joy. If it's a matter of having some sunflower seeds on hand that you can plant those, it's a little late for planting sunflower seeds this point in the year, but
the people that have the sunflowers near the trash now. They're starting to bloom.
Yeah, they have beautiful sunflowers. I look forward to those every year.
I was surprised how tall sunflowers actually are.
Yeah, they're huge plants.
Yeah.
But it's also one of those things that stay in your own lane.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what I was telling Kid earlier. It's like, it seems like people are being bombarded constantly about, oh, you need to stop doing, you need to this, you need to do. And it's like, damn it, live your own life. And if you feeling the need to tell other people how to live their lives, then there's usually a problem within self.
Right.
Because a lot of people that are comfortable within self are not out there telling other people what to do.
No.
And that's one of the things I can warn people, because when I see something, that's my obligation. I am, I'm held accountable if I don't give that warning to somebody. Or even encouragement. I've had, been told to encourage people, which those are great. I enjoy those. Those are not a hardship for me. But, then that's it. I can do no more. Now, there are times that I'm told to do more. And have done more to the point that I am just exhausted on some levels also. And
blame you.
At a certain point, it's like, God, this is it. You benched me on this one. But past couple of days, it's like, all right, crank it back up. And I'm like, Lord, I'm just exhausted. And there comes a point in time, there is an emotional and mental numbness. And that's okay, because then you can still do, but you don't have, the emotions do not stop you from doing. But it's like the batteries, wear down after a while.
Yeah.
So there's coffee. But I pretty much stay in my own lane. That's why the TikToks and some of this other stuff, and even as far as, you've got a lot of well-intentioned people out there. And, don't be telling somebody they have to do something. Show them kindness. Show them compassion. Show them forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than pointing a finger. Now, this is why people have gotten away from a lot of the organized religions. They're there because out of guilt and out of fear. And within our belief system, as far as Christianity, it's a matter of God doesn't want you to come to Him just out of fear. I mean, there's a healthy respect. You know, a lot of these things have been mistranslated. They have been misunderstood. And, you know, you can't teach what you don't know. But it's a matter of love.
Yeah.
That's just like parents and kids, you know. Parents do the best that they can because they love their kids. We're talking in a healthy relationship, parental relationship. That's sad that I have to put a disclaimer on that statement. But it's also one of those that the parents hope the children will love them back. But that is never a guarantee.
No. No, it's not. Which is sad.
It is sad. But, you know, Christ, when you get to know Him, He's very easy to love. And people have just totally distorted that. You know, and this, you know, the wrath of God, and, you know, God is coming to strike you down. That's Zeus. It's not Yeshua. But anyhow, this is not going to become a religious thing. See, I'm on the fringe on the religious thing, too.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I don't have to be, you know, I try to do.
Mm-hmm.
But just for people to stay in their own lane. Sometimes shut out that other shit. Just close the door on it. Sit there, and I don't care if you get you, you know, it'd be a good thing. Go out and get you a set of Jack Rocks.
A Jack Rock.
Yeah. Something that simple.
Go play Cubert.
Yeah. Well, even on the electronic things, I'm not so sure there's not some kind of frequency that is short-circuiting people's brains. No matter how benign it appears. You know. Go outside and you chase butterflies. For real. I don't care how old you are. Just sit there and look at them and simplify.
Go sit on a swing.
Yeah.
Go swing on a swing.
And find out what the den inside your head is. Because it's there.
Yeah.
It's that, you know, constant white noise.
Mm-hmm.
In a bad way that it goes through a lot of people's heads right now.
Yes.
And if you've got something inside of you telling you that you are anything than a beloved child of God, that's the voice of the enemy.
Yes.
Learn to breathe again, because during times of stress, people hold their breath.
I can't breathe right now, but that's not because of stress.
That's because you refuse to take your medicines.
I forgot to take my allergy medicines this morning.
Yes. You didn't forget. You chose not to do something to remind you.
No, I did forget.
Yes, but you've been, I see there's suggestions such as medication reminders, which I'm a huge fan of those.
We've been into this.
So, and look inside self. Betterment of self. Don't worry what the other person is doing. Don't wonder what somebody else is thinking of you. That is not your business. And Kid has come up with that quote, or he was the one that had shared that quote.
What other people think of me is none of my business.
Exactly.
What other people say about me is none of my business.
It's like one of my tattoos on left wrist. It's a G quod agius, which is Latin for do what you are doing. And it's pointed towards me, where it's a constant reminder to me. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about what somebody else is doing. I need to be doing what I'm doing.
That's like my tattoo. It's pointed towards me. No one else.
With an alien head.
Yeah, with I want to believe, and it's like, yes. Yes, I want to see this.
Well, the other one that I have on left forearm is we are not punished for our sins, but by them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So sometimes we punish ourselves. So let's stop punishing ourselves. Just for a day.
What if Earth is hell?
There have been people that have surmised that, but what if we create our own hell? And that was one of the things I was going back and reviewing, because I've studied a lot of different world religions, you know, and there's bits and pieces and, you know, as far as my experience and how I came to my belief that would be something at this point, if somebody, I can share that with them if they want to email me, but that was a separate channel. But revisiting as far as Buddhist principles.
Yeah.
And, that suffering is optional. And a lot of that is how we perceive events.
Mm-hmm. Perception is reality.
It can be. And now it's one of those, if you want to go as far as if somebody hits you in the head with a hammer and then they say, oh, the pain's not real,
That's
it's just perceived.
That's not perception, that's like, damn it, motherfucker, you hit me.
Yes, but then after that physical pain is gone, then the trauma and the memory and stuff, that is the suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to learn to let that go. And some of the Buddhist things, they can be as confusing as any other things. Taoism, I need to go back and review some of those. Stoicism helps me a lot too. Some of those philosophies that's, like I say, it is not at odds with Scripture. It doesn't have to be at odds with Scripture. Wisdom is out there,
Mm-hmm.
for those who try to find it. But Taoism is pretty cool. And it's basic. And there are days I need basic, which is why I go back to coffee.
Yeah. We love coffee.
Yeah. That is my canister that I do keep my coffee in.
Isn't it cool? Isn't it cool, y'all? Tell her how it's cool.
I don't care if it's cool. I thought it's amusing. It amuses me. I was hoping it would amuse somebody else.
I like it because it reminds me of those older,
I like the art style.
Stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that, the artwork was really good then.
Well, not
and
only that, like the shape of the can, the way the can is made, because it's very reminiscent of older ones.
Right.
So.
And I think that that's the nostalgia thing, is that people are looking for simpler times.
Yeah.
Make your time simple.
Mm-hmm.
So, porch ponderings, mountain wisdom.
Yes.
Yeah. So you want to add in on?
No, I'm good. I don't.
Kid's just trying to focus on his allergies.
I'm trying not to.
He's trying not to sneeze.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. But find out what you enjoy. And today, if it's a hot bath, do that today.
Mm-hmm.
Be grateful that you got running water. If you don't have running water, that's okay too. Take you a bird bath and go on. It is a bird bath.
It is a bird bath.
I mean, that's like we had 94-year-old great aunt, and she was like what was those things that take the
Chinchilla.
dirt bath? Chinchilla taking the dirt bath, only hers was talcum powder. My God.
It got everywhere.
We're still trying to clean up talcum powder down there at Mom's.
We still find it.
Yeah.
It's in the
It
cupboards.
coated everything.
It's literally in the cupboards in the bathroom.
Yeah. But you know what? She never smelled bad.
No.
And so, it worked for her. She made it work. God love her. She had a lot of challenges, but shit, if I was 90-some years old, I'd have more challenges too. I've got challenges at this age.
When she died, she looked the same.
Yeah.
She looked exactly the same. It was just like already corpse, like
well,
she
and
just finally decided to lay down.
Well, and that was one of those, is it quantity of life or quality?
Yeah. I would say quality.
I think quality. But for me it is. Make every day count.
Yeah.
Even if you choose to focus on you for a day, that's not wasting a day. You're making that day count because you count too.
Yes.
So, prepare mentally and spiritually for things just as much as getting you stocking up on ramen.
Mm-hmm.
And know that you're loved.
Yes.
So if you've got experiences with paranormal, supernatural encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, if you've got local, regional, or family myths or legends, send us an email, cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com. And the email address will be there in the description box.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see if Kid can do his spiel or not.
Oh, don't give me tape. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, comment, and most of all, subscribe and click that notification button for daily notifications of our daily uploads. Thank you all. Have a good. Grab a box of tissues while you're at it.
Hey, when I was growing up, people used, they still used handkerchiefs.
Those are pieces of cloth.
They are. They are pieces of cloth.
That. They're washable. They're reusable.
They are washable.
I ain't waste my money on paper.
Anyhow,
be thrown away.
Well, that's just somebody else's something. Trying to impose their thing. You would still get you, get you a handkerchief. They still sell them in the stores.
Yeah, but they're also gross to hold on to for the whole day.
That's one of the things that people didn't think anything about it during the day, but now you're sort of like, that was a little bit unhygienic. But they lived.
Yes,
they lived.
It's true.
But that's one of those things you didn't, only if you had a clean handkerchief and somebody hands you. Do not ask for somebody else's kind of handkerchief that they have used. That's nasty.
That's gross. You're nasty.
Anyhow, you all have a beautiful, blessed day, and we'll see you on the next cup.
Bye.
Bye.